Welcome to the Business Weekly podcast brought to you by Business News Wales. Coming up this week, we spoke to Walter May of GlobalWelsh about the new Japanese GlobalWelsh City Hub. Nick Stamenkovic of RBS talks to us about the latest Wales Business Activity report. And in the lead up to the Abergavenny Food Festival, one of the major food events of the year, Chief Executive Aine Morris talks to us about this year's lineup. And this week, all of that is being brought to you by our very own Chris McColgan. Over to you, Chris.
Thanks, Connor. GlobalWelsh, Wales's grassroots D-support community, launched a new city hub in Tokyo. GlobalWelsh Tokyo will enable Welsh D-support based in and around the city to connect with like-minded people and uncover business and career opportunities locally and around the world. I spoke to Walter May to find out more.
The new city hub and GlobalWelsh generically is looking to have impact in four areas. One is international trade, inward investment, thought leadership and international mentoring. So in terms of international trade, city hubs have a significant role to play in facilitating and allowing Welsh businesses to trade in overseas markets by providing them with links to the geography, obviously, and also to the knowledge and expertise of the members of the city hubs. The way we're going about this is we're not seeking specific cities to establish hubs in. We are tapping into the passion and the desires of Welsh people around the globe. So someone in Tokyo that we felt was the right person approached us and said, I love what you're doing. I want to help. I'm in Tokyo. Would I qualify as a hub host? And clearly, it was very clear that Sarah, with her knowledge and expertise in entrepreneurship and having been out there for some time, be able to speak the language, and with her network, was absolutely ideal to do it. So it's really through people approaching us, and we have a pipeline now of other city hub hosts that we are interviewing and getting to know in other cities around the world. So, it could be anywhere on the globe. So currently the pipeline is LA, Paris, Marseille, Melbourne, Sydney, and Dubai. And we're having approaches on a regular basis from other Welsh people in other locations.
The latest figures for visitor spend in Swansea Bay show that more tourists than ever are visiting the area. Thanks to major events last year, like BBC's Biggest Weekend, the Wales Air Show, and the Admiral Swansea Bay 10K, visitor spend rose by more than £20 million. To find out what this means for the region, we spoke to Robert Francis-Davies of Swansea Council.
Well, staycationing is where people in the United Kingdom are actually staying, whether it's for 4 days or whether it's for a week or just an overnight stay in the UK rather than travelling abroad to their traditional holidays like Spain, etc. I think a lot of it is because of Brexit, uncertainty, but seeing that there's so much that the UK has to offer, and why not go and visit other resorts in the United Kingdom? Well, we've seen an increase in our visitors. Last year we had 4.2 million visitors to Swansea, which with a spend of £417 million in the Swansea region. And that was a 3% increase on last year. That doesn't take into account Airbnb, because there's no way of recording those visits. So it's probably even more than that. It's our 50th anniversary of Swansea being a city, and so therefore we got a full year-round programme. In July, we got the Wales International Air Show, which over the last 2 years it has increased. And we have something like 250,000 visitors around the bay over the 2 days that's on. And also the last night, the proms has been announced again by the BBC, always a great success in Swansea's park. So what with sporting events and 5Ks and 10Ks and the other things, we got to celebrate the events for the 50th anniversary. A great place to come and see.
The latest data from the NatWest Wales PMI signalled another solid monthly increase in business activity, supported by a sustained rise in new business. We spoke to Nick Stamenkovic from RBS to discuss the data.
Well, the Welsh Regional PMI survey is quite upbeat in April. For the first month of the second quarter of 2019, business activity was little changed from March, but remains well above the 50 level, signalling expansion activity. In fact, it's the second highest in the UK as a whole. So for now, the Welsh economy seems to be doing reasonably well. The Welsh economy, like the UK economy, faces challenges, not only because of the Brexit situation, the uncertainty that's generating particularly over investment and the trajectory of the economy of the medium term, but there's also global headwinds. We're seeing a softening activity in China. We're also seeing slower activity in the euro area, which is a key export area of the UK. So there are challenges ahead, but the Welsh economy is in good shape, judging from the latest regional PMI survey.
Recently, the Welsh Government announced over £30 million in funding to improve access to active travel, deliver safer routes and improve road safety for communities across Wales. We spoke to Rhiannon Hardiman of Living Streets Cymru to learn more.
That funding will make it possible for people to choose cleaner and healthier ways to travel. It'll help people to move more and it'll help to clean up the pollution in our towns and cities. It takes us closer to realising the vision of the Active Travel Act in Wales, which is to transform Wales into an active travelling nation. We've yet to really see the benefits of that across the country, so we welcome this investment in infrastructure and also in consultation as well to make sure that the routes, the infrastructure is actually suitable for people who would like to walk more and cycle more. Active travel is any mode of transport that involves physical activity, so things like walking, cycling, using a scooter. And they're the sorts of things that we'd like people to be able to choose for as many of their short everyday journeys as possible. So our mission at Living Streets is to achieve a better walking environment and to inspire people to walk more. Because walking, we know, can solve a lot of the big issues facing society today, including physical inactivity. Childhood obesity is a growing issue. And of course, levels of air pollution now, which are lethal in some of our major cities across the UK. And we know as well that walking just 20 minutes a day can reduce the risk of preventable conditions like heart disease, depression, type 2 diabetes. So we're talking about benefits to personal health, but also it can reduce costs on the NHS caused by physical inactivity. Currently, that's estimated at £650 million a year for NHS Wales.
The Abergavenny Food Festival, taking place over the weekend of the 21st to the 22nd of September, has announced a raft of new events and speakers joining the lineup at this year's event. We spoke to AFF Chief Exec Aine Morris to learn more.
Abergavenny Food Festival was founded in 1999 by two Monmouthshire-based farmers in response to the BSE and foot and mouth crisis. We have always been a food festival that's about connecting people to where their food comes from. So we're a little bit different from your average food festival. We make sure that everything that happens at Abergavenny is about getting people trying, tasting or smelling something new. The idea is that you go away having learnt a new skill, tasted a new product, or just thinking a little bit differently about how food is made and how we cook and eat it at home. We welcome, last year was one of the highest attendee numbers that we've ever had at Abergavenny. We welcomed 37,000 people into town over Food Festival weekend. We're really excited about the 2019 lineup. The programme has more women and more diversity and more really interesting topics and debates of conversation going on this year than ever before. So we're welcoming Asma Khan from the Darjeeling Express Supper Club, who has just been the first chef in the UK to be featured on the Netflix series Chef's Table. We have got Sandor Katz coming over from the USA, and he's really the founding father of all things fermenting related. So if you're very enthusiastic about pickling and fermenting and making sauerkraut or kombucha, then he is the font of all knowledge for everything fermented. We're welcoming Fergus and Trevor from St John in London, who are celebrating 20 years of their restaurant, as well as chefs from Wales and across the region, including Tommy Heaney and Josh Eggleton from the Pony and Trap near Bristol, and Gareth Ward from Innisheer. So there's an awful lot for people to come and do at the festival this year, from watching a chef demo to participating in a drinks masterclass. We've got a programme of specialist tasting workshops, as well as the cookery schools and all of our kids' activities, and night markets and parties. In fact, it's a challenge to find something not to do.
The British Council of Offices has named Hugh James's headquarters, 2 Central Square, as the best corporate workplace in South England and South Wales. To discuss the award, we spoke to Matthew Tossell of Hugh James.
Well, the British Council of Offices Awards exist to promote best practice in office space by recognising top quality design and functionality in the workplace. The particular award that we entered and we've won now for the South and South Wales region is the corporate workspace. That's open to joint ventures between developers and occupiers, and is judged on the merits of the base build and the fit out and the integration between those two elements. On this project, we worked in collaboration with Right Acres, the developers, so that the base build was actually adapted as we went along with the build to facilitate the fit out that we wish to put into the building. We focused that fit out on the well-being of the workforce, and actually some of the base build alterations were done specifically then to allow us to create a different environment which promoted that wellness, which is one of the key features and one of the key factors for the BCO, and that's something that they are very keen to recognise and promote. So that's basically what the award is, and why we were nominated then to put our office forward as a contender, if you like, for this award.
Chwarae Teg, Wales's leading gender equality charity, recently presented the DVLA with a FairPlay Employer Award. To find out more about the FairPlay Employer Award scheme, we spoke to Alison Dacey of Chwarae Teg.
Well, first and foremost, it's a demonstration, I would say, of an organisation's commitment to gender equality and diversity. It's all about a journey. It's a subscription-based service where Chwarae Teg will support organisations in their quest to deliver gender equality and diversity, and that then helps to create a truly balanced workforce. It's all about future-proofing a business, helping them become employer of choice, and also keeping employees engaged. It looks at where a business is currently. It's like a snapshot, so they would do a detailed gender and diversity survey that would be filled in by their employees, covering 10 key business areas. And it really gives the organisation a detailed understanding of where the business is at that particular time. It benchmarks against sectors and within the organisation, and I'd say it's a measured starting point for showing what an organisation is doing well. So it's recognising that they may be doing things that are really good, but also highlighting where things need to be developed and what work needs to be done. So they will go away with a mutually agreed action plan. I think for DVLA, signing up to the service in the first place is a good step for any organisation. So that public partnership with Chwarae Teg is very important. It speaks volumes about what their intentions are as an organisation. And to achieve the Silver Award, it's no mean feat. You know, it is quite difficult to get a Silver Award. It's a real achievement. So again, it's all about recognition for the work that they've done so far. It's a sign to their employees that their continued commitment to gender equality and diversity. And I'd say it provides valuable feedback for them as an organisation, how they're doing, what comes next. They've got an action plan. So it's a platform for going further and going for gold and beyond.
Across Print, there's a huge shortage in trained and experienced candidates to fill gaps in sectors including IT, technology, construction and engineering. We had the chance to speak to Sarah Elwood of Supertemps to find out more.
So we're seeing quite a few skills gaps up here in North Wales, particularly on the IT and technical side. So this could be developers with certain languages, so your PHP, your C++, your Java. Technology is changing very fast, so the trends are changing all the time, and we're seeing shortages in these key roles. Also, on the construction side, we're seeing a shortage of skilled tradespeople. On the hospitality side, we're seeing massive shortages of chefs and hospitality staff, and also commercial personnel. So good Welsh-speaking commercial staff, there's a massive shortage of those in North Wales. So almost across the board, really, there's some quite concerning skills shortages there, which is always a challenge to fill. Is it a positive or a negative? There's kind of two ways of looking at it. It's a positive in that our clients are hiring. So that means that the economy is in quite good shape. Some good employers have moved to the region, so it's a positive from that aspect. Also, it's a positive for the job seekers themselves because it's a very candidate-led marketplace, which means that for every role, that there's a shortage of candidates for each role, so each candidate can pick and choose from the employer rather than the other way around. So that's the positives of it. The negatives are, well, what if we can't fill these roles? How will that affect A, the company, or B, the local economy? What is that going to mean for North Wales? We're very aware that salaries are higher in the northwest, so over the border into Chester and Liverpool and Manchester, the salaries are higher, and that's commutable from North Wales. So we're losing good candidates to companies over the border.
New research from the Clyde Industry Forum shows that the skills challenge is going to increase over the next 3 years for tech businesses. MEMSET claim that the link between the continuing skills challenge and a lack of diversity in the workplace are part of the same issue, one that is consistently overlooked by tech business leaders. To find out more about this link, we spoke to Annalisa O'Rourke from MEMSET.
So it's something that we have been feeling quite a lot in the recruitment process for at least a year or two now, but there's been recent research that's actually backed up that's come out from the Centre for International Field Research that is showing that there is a 52% depletion in IT skills at the moment in at least one area of the businesses. And in addition to this, they're actually showing that there's going to be an additional skills gap within the next 3 years. So that's seriously concerning when technology is moving forward at a fast rate of knots, and we need to constantly upskill our staff and gather additional skill sets. The lack of diversity is impacting the issue by not only causing an issue with the recruitment process, but also in our ability to have the core skills and competencies that we need in a very fast-moving technology sector. So we need to constantly maintain a creative approach to our workloads. We need a high raised level of innovation, and we need to make sure that there's a constant removal of bias so that we can have the clear fact-based approach to decision-making that we need to produce the latest technology. The other issue is that we need to make sure that our employees, because we want to maintain them all the time and keep that skill set within our organisation, is that we need to make sure that they're feeling comfortable and happy in an environment where there is inclusivity as a priority. Companies can work towards various different areas to overcome the lack of diversity. It's really key to make sure that you have a very clear recruitment process that makes sure that you have a very encouraging view of various different diversities, not using quotas, which will only serve to alienate or categorise future employees. And then with regards to actually ongoing management of your staff, you need to make sure that you don't limit the definition of diversity. So it's not just about having women in the workforce, it's about having all sorts of different cultures and aspects and life history of people within the workforce.
That's all we have time for this week. I've been your host, Chris McColgan. Be sure to check out businessnewswales.com for all the latest Welsh business news, and I'll see you all next time.